Welcome to Mark My Words, a show that searches for the fork in the road in life, the place where the turning point in the journey of entrepreneurship and life can be found. Let's meet each other at the crossroads on Mark My Words. Believe it or not, when I looked in the crystal ball of possible episodes that I could do for Mark My Words, one thing I never really thought about was crossing paths with the founder or a founder or anybody associated with a gaming app or any kind of gaming thing. But here we are. This will teach you to expect the unexpected in life. And as I don't know if I've even alluded to this too much on the show, but I have grown or did grow before I married my wife. I had used dating apps, AOL, Prodigy, even going back to Prodigy in the early 90s when I was so young and shouldn't have even been thinking about dating or whatever. But I have gone through so many phases of the online dating and technological dating world. I can remember computer generated matches from high school, which is really funny to me now in my 40s. And I've been through all these phases of that kind of thing. And when I crossed paths with Eric McHugh, who is, if I can actually I do have myself all organized. He's the chief growth officer of Data Inc., and it's an AI generated dating app, AI powered matchmaking to unite 1 billion happy couples, as I'm reading off of his own notes here. He's also the founder of Aces.Fun, the derivative market to monetize luxury RWAs. And I'm going to give this man a chance to speak since I feel like I've just been talking his head off since he jumped on this call. Eric, welcome to Mark My Words. How you doing today?
Hey, Mark. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful. I'm doing really well, man. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I'm doing very well. I'm having a great day. I survived a power outage before the first episode that I recorded, and very happy to have you here. Very excited, not only to talk to you about dating. I've grown or did grow so much with the online dating sites. I was on everything from like Match Doctor, which I'm sure nobody has heard of or remembered, to OK Cupid, to just trying to meet people on AOL, etc. And I can't wait to hear the story of how you got into all this. But before we do that, I do want to go in the Wayback Machine. I love talking to people about just their path. And I see here cognitive psychology, credential of readiness business. I don't know if any of this stuff was something you were passionate about growing up or if there was something else that you were passionate about. But how did you come to the conclusion to jump into majors like that? And, you can fill in whatever blanks you want to fill.
Yeah, sure. So to be honest, college, I just kind of chose majors because I found them interesting. I'm just like, okay, psychology seems cool, business seems cool. Let's see what happens. There was no real design when picking the college major because at that point you're what, like 18? What 18-year-old can make a good decision? But to be honest with you, man, all my real learning happened after college in the startup environment. So that's something I'm really grateful for.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like I'm one of those weird stories where I kind of knew early on that I wanted to be in television in some way, shape, or form. And I think what I really wanted was to be doing something like what I'm doing now. I wanted to be like, behind the mic, in front of the camera, but I always let imposter syndrome kind of get in the way, which is a whole other long story, which we could get into once we talk about dating for sure. But yeah, it's funny and interesting that you say what 18-year-old really knows. That's actually a very good question. And even though I kind of felt like I knew, you're still, and you meaning me or anybody who can relate, you're still asking a lot of questions to yourself. Like, is this really right? Am I doing the right thing? Should I do what my parents are telling me to do, etc.? So I can frankly relate to you just being like, well, let's throw a dart on the wall and let's see if it's something I'm passionate about.
Yeah, and luckily it seemed to work out.
Yeah. So you said that you started the real journey to learning once you put college behind you. And I see here, digital marketing and looks like you kind of bounced around the world a little bit, which is amazing. So I'm going to kind of let you fill in the story on your journey from there.
Sure, man. I'm happy to. So after college, I got my first job at Snap Inc., helping craft their ad algorithm. From there, I joined as a consultant, and those, just like college, were just kind of throwing darts on the wall. It's like, hey, Snap seemed cool. Consultants seemed to pay well. Let's try that. But it really wasn't my passion at all. So my passion at the time was cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and all that stuff. So I quit my consulting job without a plan. I started going to local cryptocurrency meetups in my area, met the original ShopX team. We launched that product a while ago. And the cool thing is we were ideating a problem on the whiteboard. And that problem spun off to be a different company called Paul and Lee Card Rev, which was social commerce. So think TikTok shops before it was invented by TikTok. And that company got VC funded at one of the best incubators in the world. And what an incubator is, it's startup school. So it's like our startup was next to another startup, which is next to another startup. So at a young age, I was exposed and networked my way through a bunch of different people, like a bunch of CTOs, CEOs, CMOs at different companies in different verticals, and learned as much as I possibly could from them. So that was like an accelerated learning period. We were building that for a while. And then I was on a crypto podcast tour a while back to promote ShopX. And then I went on this crypto podcast called The Crypto Economy. It was run by this dude named Marc. I thought he was chill. We kept in touch after. And then a while ago, like some AI looking bot on Twitter started following me. Like, oh, who's this? It's like, oh, it's Marc. I'm thinking about building this AI powered dating app. I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. I've been on the dating apps. I know how it is. I'm down to help you build with that. And so that's how dating came into play. So it's just kind of the universe just working out for you.
I'm a little blown away by the fact that you basically jumped out of college and started consulting with Snap, because I have to believe that with my background, even that if I knocked on somebody's door like that and said, I can consult with you, they probably would turn me away. So it's amazing that you found yourself there. How did that like come about? Not to veer from dating here, because you actually told a pretty good linear story.
No, within Snap, I was looking at Google, Facebook, Snapchat, and all like the big, like LinkedIn, all the big tech companies, because like, okay, after college, that seems like a cool place to work. I ended up going with Snap because Snap's location was in Venice Beach, which is closer to where I currently live, whereas Google, Facebook, they're all in NorCal. So I chose Snap for that reason, and their location's pretty sweet. So if you've been to Venice Beach, it's a cool spot in California, right on the beach. They purchased a bunch of different buildings along the boardwalk. So it wasn't one big building. It's a bunch of smaller, different buildings with people working in different departments on different things in different buildings. So you got to walk around the beach, 2 different houses to work with different people. So that's ultimately why I chose Snap. And it was another reason it was right before their IPO. So I wanted to see what it was like how the company operated prior to an IPO and post IPO to see if there was like a change in the energy and all that stuff.
Wow, that's amazing. And sometimes location can matter because I have had some opportunities in my life that I don't think I would have had if I wasn't in XYZ location. So sometimes even if it's not your background or whatever, just being in the right place at the right time or just physically living in the right place can lead you to something. And obviously it was an experience that paved the way to where you are now. It gave you kind of the jump start on creating your own app. And I know obviously technology played a big part in the creation and AI for sure. But how about the other half of it, the dating part? Well, how did you come to the conclusion that you wanted to, no pun intended, marry the two together and, and bring it to the market?
Yeah, so I believe that everyone has an inner purpose and everyone has an outer purpose. I think everyone's inner purpose is the same. So I think everyone's inner purpose is to raise the collective consciousness level. And I think everyone's outer purpose is how do I leverage my God given talents to help raise a collective consciousness level. And I think you're doing that with your podcast. I think you're passionate about it. So like you said, you want to be on camera. So this is part of your purpose and you're helping spread a good message, which is raising the collective consciousness. So just like you're a podcaster, this just happened to work out well with me in tech. And I also believe people are happiest when they're serving other people. And I also believe that in authenticity. So you're the number one you in the world. I'm the number one me in the world. If I try to be you, like if I try to copy your podcast and make the same podcast as you, I can't beat you at being you because you're number one. But at the same time, if you try to do me, you can't beat me at being me. So logically, if you want to serve as many people at scale, the best thing you can do is follow your natural gifts because again, you're number one in the world. No one's going to beat me at this because I'm number one. No one's going to beat you because you're number one. And plus, if you're passionate about something, it obviously ends well, much better if it's just something you don't care about too.
That's a very important message because I think a lot of times we can get wrapped up in comparing ourselves to other people. And I know as a podcaster that in the early days of me doing this, I know mentally I got kind of wrapped up in it a little bit, even though I kept lecturing myself not to. And you're only human, but you make such a good point that like it's so hard to capture someone else's like essence and character and like right now I definitely could never capture just kind of like your that just your whole what makes you up. I see somebody there who's just chill and cool and you know that's definitely not something I would describe myself as. And hopefully cool in my own way, quote unquote. But interesting that you're talking about this with AI. And do you ever think about those kind of things? I'm guessing you probably do when you're uh, just putting an app like this together.
Yeah, so AI does the best it could, but the goal of the app is to get people matched with putting them in the best position to succeed. So the goal is ultimately to meet the person face to face because that's when you can, like, if you're trying to date or meet friends or whatever, meeting them face to face is the best way to do that because you pick up their energy, pick up on their vibe, which I think computers can't really capture. But our AI does the best it can to make those connections happen where they wouldn't have happened in the first place.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I have a pretty extensive, unfortunately, experience with the online dating world and meeting people. And every now and then, you can get it right just by talking to somebody through text. But there was somebody that I actually did not meet through a dating site that I wound up dating for 2 years. And we started off just talking through Messenger. And we were actually talking so much that I was like, look, I'm kind of tired of like this is going back 20 years. I'm tired of staring at my computer screen all the time and being kind of like bound to it. We should start like, can I give you a call? And that really kind of like moved things along, just having that connection. And then after that, we started, this will tell you how long ago it was. We started talking on webcam. And from there, it's like now you're really kind of picking up more, even though you're not in person, you're definitely picking up more of just what the person is about and what makes them up. And I truly feel like those steps make a huge difference with us meeting and dating versus not dating at all. And I think you're making a really great point about how important at the end of the day, meeting somebody or at least seeing them face to face and interacting, kind of like we are right now, that makes all the difference in the world.
No, yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think humans are social creatures, and yeah, the point I think human connection, like authentic connection, is one of the biggest pillars for overall human happiness.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I mean, just going off of my own life, when I look at all the things that I'm doing now, like that I use TikTok pretty frequently. I do this show, and if I took all that stuff away, just mental health in general, for me at least, like it gets kicked to the wayside. Like I'm a different person without just in general connecting with people. So it makes a huge difference. Just you know, I think spiritually and physically, like just on so many levels.
No, I mean, well, spiritually we're all connected, but physically too. The thing is, when you're sad, when you're happy, when you're stressed, when you're angry, your body is literally producing different chemicals, and obviously the stressed, angry chemicals are bad for you. And if meeting people makes you happy and keeps you stress free, your body's going to produce better chemicals for you. So meeting people is good for your spiritual, mental health, and even the physical health. That's why solitary confinement is one of the harshest punishments in prison.
Yeah. No, I mean just so I've spent a lot of my time in life, just not, socializing, I guess you could say, just not, really as social as I think I wish I could have been. So not that that's solitary confinement, but just taking a lot of that away, it can definitely affect mental health. And I mean, we're kind of getting off, or at least I'm getting off on kind of a totally like different tangent here. But maybe I can jump back in here. And there's a lot of really good questions here that you've drawn up, like can AI truly understand human emotions and attraction? And I mean, that I would love your take just on that.
Yeah, so it's hard for AI to fully understand it because AI doesn't have all the context that it has around that. So AI, like something may happen to you, it makes you feel sad for the AI, but like, why is this making you sad? I don't get that. But what we're trying to do is try to give it as much context as it possibly can so it can pick up on that. Because what AI is really good at is pattern quantifying large amounts of data and pattern recognition at scale. So if you give it enough data and enough if you give it enough data, it can pick up on patterns that we would miss, and then it can draw conclusions based off of that.
What patterns are we missing?
Yeah, so for example, I can give you how, like, let's say the dating app works this way. So it's the first ever AI powered matchmaking service. And what we do is we auto generate profiles and matches based on your digital footprint and your chat history with Cupid. So let's say you would connect your accounts, you connect your photos, you connect your Twitter, all that stuff, you chat with Cupid. On the back end, it creates a bunch of tags for you, Marc, as a person. So like, let's say it picks you up as like a runner, give you like a 0.6 correlation on running, and then it generates matches based on those tags. So you may match with a 0.6 runner with a 0.7 biker. So with enough data and enough people using the app, it's going to pick up on stuff that people miss. So for example, you may never guess that people who are into running just happen to be really into Superman for some reason. But if there's enough people who just happen to do that, it'll pick up on that, and we as humans will miss. But be like, hey, it's weird. A lot of these Superman people or Superman fans love runners. There must be a correlation behind that, and then it starts adjusting itself and starts matching based off of that. So the cool thing about the app is the more I use it, the more it learns about me, the more it learns about my preferences, the smarter it gets at matching me. The more you use it, the same, but it's also scanning both of us holistically. So it's picking up on patterns between me and you. It's like, okay, between these two people, this seems to be a high, like these matches seem to work. It's not just two people. Imagine like 1,000 people, 1,000,000 people. If it's picking up on the patterns of 1,000,000 people, it's going to get really good at matching people really quickly. And not just dating too, friends wise, event wise. It's all it can match any sort of person, like networking wise, college roommates, new hires, interns. You're going on vacation, you want to meet someone who has a similar interest, you go on the app, it can find you that person.
So, are you hoping that this can go beyond just dating and can be bigger than dating? Because I for one, just listening to what you're talking about, I wish that this would have existed 20 years ago, because I would have loved to have seen if me having conversations about being like the world's biggest ABBA fan, but also like a super duper sports fan, and then Lord only knows what else I can come up with that are like extremes, and put those together and somehow, maybe not find somebody who has all those same interests, but somehow through your algorithm and the AI, find somebody that would, I guess, be like the best fit, so to speak. I don't know. I'm blown away by this.
No, it can totally do that. We just started with dating because if you've been on the apps, you know they can be not the best experience for everyone. So we're just like, oh, that's an easy market penetration. So we start with dating. We just introduced the friends feature. So like, it's not like the UA is not updated, but if you wanted to match with me, you can just put in my number, and then it can tell us what we like about different people. If you want to match with your wife, it can match you with your wife, and then you can turn off dating so you're not shown to other people, but you can match with your wife, so you can help plan dates with that. The next feature we're adding is groups. So like me and my friends could create a group and we can use it to roast each other, whatever the case may be. And after that, we're introducing events. So it's like, let's say you come to the area. It's like, okay, I'm really interested in ABBA. I'm really interested in this. People who like ABBA would like this event at this specific place because it's right up their vibe, and they can find people that way. So long term, I think it can match anyone. And I think that's what we want to do.
That's amazing, because when I came into this episode, I'm thinking definitely more along the lines of just online dating. And it's amazing. I guess, much like that's why they play the game, that's why you do the interview, because this is really amazing. I feel like what you're trying to do could bridge a lot of gaps and bring a lot of people together to just more like-minded uh, heads together, so to speak.
Yeah, no, like I want to use the app to find people who are more in meditation around me. And the cool thing about the app is you can think of this app as like a layer two floating on top of ChatGPT. So if ChatGPT doesn't become the best service, we could just move on over. But it also fixes a major flaw with ChatGPT. So like, some people use ChatGPT for like relationship advice. Like my friend, he uses it. He'll take a screenshot of like a text message, like, "What does this mean?" And then it'll give him an answer. But the issue is that answer is given through his lens. So ChatGPT is learning about him. So when he sends that screenshot, what does this person mean? It responds based on what it knows about him. So it's actually more of a mirror. Whereas dating, since we have to take into account both users, so both digital footprints, like, okay, Eric and Mark, you ask it a question, it'll take both of our sides into account and answer. So I was playing around with it with my friend, and was like, you can ask a relationship advice, you can ask a counseling advice, you can ask like, how should we introduce this part into our relationship? What should we do? And then it'll take both sides of the equation, not just your mirror AI version.
So as much as this is supposed to bring people together, is through the AI and algorithm, will it actually kind of help people to see that, okay, we are not a match and we should just kind of not interact or talk? Like, I don't know if that's a weird question, but
Yeah, no. That actually hasn't been built in. So we're focused, and we're pretty new too. So we're focused on putting together the matches first, and that's an area. It's like when you're generating tags, it's easier to find what people like versus what people don't like, because it's like you're posting about what people like. You're posting about what you like, not what you don't like. So we're figuring out ways to pick up on the negative data, and what you just mentioned is that's something we'll figure out too as they chat. But we're more focused on matching the like-minded people and just not even giving the option of someone who isn't good. Because if you say, well, the thing is, if like let's say on the match you say no to this person, they're not good, it's gonna automatically kind of know you're not into this type of person and kind of gear your matches towards what you actually like.
what are some success stories with data in? Do you even know of any?
Yeah, so we know a couple like that. Again, the app, like I said, the app is brand new. We had a really successful launch in LA. People on the wait list loved the concept. So our first success story was a team. We met up for the first time. We had like an in-person work session. We used our app to. We're like, what should we all eat? And like, what we don't. This is our first time meeting two people. It's like, what do we want to get dinner? And actually suggested a pretty good place, and we ended up getting dinner. So I thought that was pretty cool. We've seen one of our users. She planned a date at the night of the. She planned a date at like a Hall of Museum, like it's an illusion-based museum in LA. I thought that was pretty cool to see them actually use it. I think the biggest success story is people are actually using the app and giving us feedback on the app, and then we're rapidly reiterating based on the feedback, and we can implement features really quickly because of our community. So like the group chat, that was actually a community suggestion. Event chats, actually a community suggestion. So like I think that's been the biggest success where we've had an app that people actually care enough to give suggestions, and we can build off of that.
That's amazing. And I mean, beta testing, especially when you're ramping up something new, especially an idea that's as new as this, it's very important. And I'm actually a little jealous because I love whenever I get the random email and they say, hey, do you want to be a part of this beta test or that one? I absolutely love the random beta test emails. So I'm a bit jealous of the people who got the beta test for you.
Yeah, so it's probably a fun experience because the app is more stable now. But when when you're initially beta testing, not everything works. It's just, yeah, it's just not where it is. But that can be a fun experience to watch it grow. Like you, like I like QA, which is pretty much beta testing. So like whenever someone sends me like, hey, like when my friend has an app, I'm like, oh, if you need any beta testers, let me know. I like beta testing stuff.
So we've been talking a bit just about like here and there dating apps in general. Do you think that they help or hurt long-term relationship success? Because I, for one, met somebody online, not on a dating app, and we had a 2-year relationship, and we had, we met at a place and time that the timing was good. We had mutual interests. It was off of a mutual interest platform. But then I have so many stories that were absolute failures, besides for my wife, and I'll even say my ex-wife, who I also met on a dating site. I've met pretty much everybody I've dated on a dating site. So, and I have a lot of horror stories. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, I would say that's by design. So I would say there are three big issues with the dating apps like Match, Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, all that. The first issue is it's the top 5% of users on the app get access to everyone on the app, and that creates somewhat of a skewed marketplace. I would say the secondary issue is it's most apps are pretty much physical based. So it's like, are they hot? Yes or no, swipe left, swipe right, based on physical appearance, which isn't the best way to get to know. Like, obviously, that's not the best way to get to know someone. But I would say the third and most interesting issue is the incentive behind the apps. So think about it logically. If like Tinder were to match a happy couple, what does this mean? This happy couple then leaves the app. This results in the loss of a paying customer for Tinder. So it's not in Tinder's best interest to actually match people and have them leave the app. This results in something called churn marketing, meaning like you're keeping them on the Ferris wheel. So if you ever hear about someone saying, I downloaded the app, delete the app, download the app, delete the app, which I'm sure we both done. Like I'm sure we both
Yep.
download multiple. Yeah, the cycle.
Yep. Yep.
That's all by design. Whereas dating is different. So we make our matches based on putting you in the position to succeed. So for example, I could get my 3 matches: Ashley, Kimberly, Jane. It's like, okay, Jane seems cool. Tell me more about Jane. It gives me an AI bio based on more of her digital footprint, so you get a more complete photo or a more complete picture of who she is. It's like okay, Jane seems cool. Well, you both went to a 4-year university. You're both into this. You're both into this. Would you like to go on a date with Jane? I say, yeah, let's go on a date. We match. It's like, oh, Jane and Eric, you both follow the same artist on Apple Music who've been listening. They have a concert coming up. Would you like to make that your date? I'm like, okay, that sounds fun. Great. We go on the date. Let's say we fall in love, get married. This is where the differentiator between dating and other apps come into play. It's after that I can switch to relationship butler. So I mean, Jane, like, okay, we've been married for 3 years. Where should we have our anniversary? Oh, okay, this place is good. Or it's like, oh, the place you had your second date has half off ice cream. That could be a good date. Or it's like, Jane just added this thing to her Pinterest board. This could make a good gift for Jane because Lord knows a lot of people need help with that. It's like our goal is to have a customer for life. And if you like long term, if you like our products and services and dates that we suggest, we're building it so you can book the date within app. And that's how we would make our money. The commission is like, hey, the app is creating good. It's a good app. People are using it. The suggestions are good. They're booking within app. We get paid. So our incentive is actually to create a fun experience versus just keeping someone like a kind of Ferris wheel of misery type of thing.
They always say that I guess the goal of entrepreneurship should be to be able to resolve a problem that people or somebody might have. Or even if we're talking about a podcast where you're helping them resolve a problem or helping them with a problem. You are very smart with this idea. At least I think so. I never even thought of the fact that, because to me, a dating site is something that can be very valuable, but also very disposable. Because once you meet somebody, once you're frustrated with dating or whatever, that value turns into waste. It's disposable. And to your point, churn comes into play. And I think this is absolutely brilliant that you're trying to take this and turn it into something a little bit more than just being disposable or valuable. That's amazing.
Thank you, man. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know that I am blown away by
Yeah.
but yeah, maybe I can find something else to talk about now that I'm blown away by that concept. That's just amazing to me. So one thing that you emphasize that we can talk a bit about is spirituality and mindfulness, and I'd love to know what role mindfulness and spirituality play in your life and how it might factor into you as an entrepreneur, and especially with this venture.
Yeah, no. So spirituality and mindfulness is the base of everything I do, and I think it's a really positive base, and it attracts positivity in my life. Which, as an entrepreneur, that's a very helpful thing. And so it just kind of reset my mind and just made me think in a better way. So like, I did a Vipassana meditation retreat, which was one of the best things I've ever done. And what that is it's the method that Buddha used to reach enlightenment. So it's like 10 full days, full meditation, no talking with anyone, no looking at anyone, just meditating the whole day. And it pulls out the traumas that you stored in your life. And then you close the meditation with storing all your energy in your forward and wishing everyone in the world peace, love, and happiness. And I also believe everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. So when you're saying you're at a different emotional state, you're just saying you're vibrating at a different frequency. So like anger, love, peace, hate, fear, sorrow, shame, they're all different frequencies. So when you're saying I'm angry, you're just saying I'm vibrating at this specific frequency. When I'm loving, I'm just vibrating at this specific frequency. And just like a radio station, when you turn to a specific frequency on a radio station, you get that station. So that's why when you're angry, you're on the angry frequency. you're on the angry frequency, so you attract a bunch of angry people in your life. But if you're loving, if you're joyful, if you're trying to help people, you're on that frequency and you attract those type of people in your life. So think of that from a business perspective. You're trying to network, you're trying to build a business, you're trying to meet people to help you grow. If you're trying to help as many people as possible in a loving, kind way, you're going to attract those kind of people in your life, and that makes a sustainable business. Whereas if you go into the mindset like, oh, let's make money, let's harm people, let's see what I can get out of you, you're going to attract those type of people in your business, and that's ultimately going to fail.
Well, I feel like as not only just a person, I have a lot of things going on. I'm on TikTok constantly, and I'm trying to not only build myself up as a live host, but I'm also trying to make something of it. So I kind of treat that as a business. I'm doing this show. I have a regular 9 to 5 job. So I know for me, maintaining mental health is very important, and it's very important to know when to kind of like slow down a little bit and to take time for yourself and to just be in touch with yourself in that way. And with you being an entrepreneur and working so hard and doing all this incredible work, how do you like do you ever have moments where you're like, okay, I need to delegate more, I need to slow down and really focus on my mental health? Like, how does that play a role in your life?
Yeah, no, plays. I think mental health is one of the most important. Mental health and physical health, I think, are equally important. And you can't serve the customer or the people if you're in a bad mental health space. So that's why taking care of your mental health is a really big priority. And that's something I learned from the startup to the consulting to 9 to 5 shift. Whereas in the consulting world, like let's say hypothetically, you're consulting with your team, you have a problem. The boss comes in and is like, "You guys are staying here until this problem is fixed," and no one wants to be here. So you're just like overtime. It's like this is dumb. And oftentimes the solution you come up with isn't the optimal solution, because in reality, the right thing to do at that point in time was to have taken a step back and then just rest, sleep on it, then figure it out later. And in the startup world, if you do that, like there are very limited resources in the startup world. So the worst thing you can do is spend time, energy, and effort on the wrong thing. So a lot of times you really do have to take a step back. And that's when the answer comes to you. Because honestly, dude, I've found that most of my good ideas, most of my like brain blasts come from the silence and the stillness, which is hard to do if your mind is cluttered, thinking about a million things, which is why I think meditation is the most helpful thing for me. Because if you think of your mind like an inbox, like an email inbox, if you don't check your email inbox for years, like Lord knows how much emails pile up, and then you check it finally after years, you're just like, I'm overwhelmed. The same thing applies with meditation and your thoughts. So what you're doing in meditation is just addressing each thought one by one. It's like, okay, open an email, next, open an email, next, and eventually after enough time, effort, your mind becomes more clear, and that's when you can make the best decisions.
This is why I can't always be like a super duper taskmaster on myself or plan. And I believe in planning. I believe in having goals in life and in your business. And I believe in all that stuff. But the thing that I also believe in is a point that I think you were trying to make, in that sometimes some really good and maybe even some of the best ideas come when you're not really trying to come up with them, and when you're just relaxing or taking a walk or doing whatever. Because I know sometimes I'll be kind of like loosely thinking about like what I want to do or whatever, but I'm doing it off and relaxing or walking or whatever the case is. And a really great idea. A lot of times it happens when I'm driving, even.
Hmm.
And it, it doesn't always pay to be that much of a taskmaster, to rally everybody around, and to your point, well, we can't leave until we resolve this issue or we come up with this idea. That's not really, I feel, a good percentage of the time, a good way to work.
No, 100%. And if you think of life like a river, it's like you can spend all your time trying to go up the river, and even if you do, and then you're just like tired, and it just wasn't the best way to do it. But what you want to do is just like calmly operate within the flow of the river, making micro adjustments.
Right. Micro adjustments. So what do you mean? I think I know what you mean, but I'm not going to guess that. What do you mean by micro adjustments?
Yeah, so try a bunch of things, let go of what doesn't work, learn from that, and move on to the next one. So for me personally, if something doesn't have value, doesn't give me energy, if it has a negative effect, I'm quick to let it go, and if it has a positive effect, I'm down to double down on it. So that's pretty much what startup is. You're just trying a bunch of different things. Like for example, you can try 9 things. They don't work. If you spend more time on those 9 things when they're not working, you're just wasting limited time, effort, and resources on those 9 things. The 10th thing works. You're like, yay, this 10th thing is working. This is awesome. And then it stops working, and then you have to realize that and quickly adjust and move on to a new thing, or realize why you that and edit it or optimize it further.
And that's something that you don't really see with entrepreneurs unless you have conversations like this. Because being an entrepreneur or a startup or whatever it is that you're doing, it's not all glamour. It's not all, well, I'm making 6 figures and now I'm sitting on a beach, feet are up and life is great. It can be a grind, and you may come up or come across issues, and you may have to make adjustments. You may have to scrap ideas, and time is very important. And if something's not working, you have to move on to the next thing. You can't like keep dwelling on or stick to the same thing if you want to be successful.
Yeah, it's like if it's you will run into stuff where you have to do that. It's like 100% certainty. Very rarely do things just work out.
And that's one of the things that I try to teach and emphasize. Not that I'm a teacher, but I've been talking to a lot of entrepreneurs over the years. And I know just building up this show, I've had episodes that I had to scrap because, it just, didn't go right. And it's a waste of time. And you just got to learn from it and hope to minimize those kind of things in the future. And that's like kind of like the hard side of trying to run anything is that sometimes you're going to take a shot at something, it's not going to work out, and it may even make you feel a certain way. Like I know when things don't work out sometimes, especially early on when I was doing this, I would get really down on myself, and I'd be like, oh, I probably shouldn't be doing this, and maybe I need to like give this up and do something else. And I feel like it's very important to be resilient in business if you really want to make it. You can't give up. And I think people like you are a very good reflection of what happens when you don't give up, because now you're building something that's a really great idea and you're on to something, and you may even within this be having your moments where you're like, oh, what the heck am I doing? But you dust yourself off and you keep going.
Yeah, dude, because the thing about entrepreneurship is you live in the unknown, so you never know what's going to happen. And regarding the lessons, the way I view the universe is I think everything has a lesson behind it. And if you don't learn your lesson, what's the universe going to do? It's going to keep sending you the same mistake over and over again till you learn your lesson, which is why it makes more sense for you to learn that lesson quicker rather than later and just move upward. And
Absolutely.
and
No, go ahead. You got a
yeah,
thought.
no, I think it's really important to note that I also believe in God's plan, so I think the universe's plan, and I'm too small and insignificant to understand that. So what I may deem as something that's not good for me, it's all part of the greater plan that does work out. So for example, let's say I'm supposed to get funding. Funding doesn't come through. They pull away at the last minute. Yes, that's really annoying at the time, but you never know. They may have been the wrong funding source. And I've had startups fail because they accepted money from the wrong thing. It's like I would not have known that, but in the end, it is always working out for me in perfect timing.
I'm a total believer in what you're saying. I feel that everything happens for a reason. And yeah, we do have to act on our own behalf and do the best that we can, because to your point, we really don't know actually what the end result of XYZ situation might be. But I also try to keep in mind when I do find out what the end result is, okay, this happened for a reason. What did I learn? And how can I respond from there?
Yeah, no, 100%. It's I would say the accept, redirect, and act is a good thing. So the first thing, let's say something hypothetically bad happens to you. If you fight it, that's never going to work. So you just like, hey, you have to accept it and then redirect it towards something positive. And once you redirect, if you don't act on it, you're just not doing anything. So accept, redirect, act, and you just keep doing that over and over again in different situations, many different times, and eventually you find the right path.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. I mean, we all kind of get into a rut sometimes where we're just like, well, if we just keep trying it this way, I just know it can work. And a lot of times that's actually not the case, I guess, unless you make certain adjustments, which might still not be doing it the exact right way. But as you know, Kenny Rogers would say, you gotta know when to hold them. You gotta
Yeah.
know when to fold them. And I don't really know why. My wife loves that song, so she'll love that I referenced that.
Yes, that's good. You always have to please the wife. Whatever you
Yeah.
yeah. That's good life advice. Just please the wife.
So I know you alluded to just dating and how you're building it up to be like more than dating, but what else do you, if you can look into the crystal ball, what else do you see coming down the pike for dating?
So we were building out AR dating, so I thought that was cool. The reason we were building that out and stopped is because Apple launched their headset. We thought it'd be more popular. So I think Apple's following their iPhone model when the iPhone first released. I was like, oh, expensive, and no one has it, but now everyone has it. So I think they're trying to do something with their AR VR headsets. So whenever that picks up, we're ready to move on that and be one of the first apps. Like imagine like AR dating or AR networking. I think that'd be a pretty cool thing. So everyone could have their virtual headset and you can match based on similarities. I think that'd be pretty cool. Again, like we said, we're focused. We're getting trying to get the dating part down. So we want to get around 10,000 users in Los Angeles specifically, and then go for a raise and then expand throughout the country. We're building out a heat map too. So we're going on podcast. We're focusing our marketing efforts on LA, but like we're going on podcasting, some ads. We're seeing where people are naturally download the app, and those are going to be the next cities we hit next. So it's been pretty fun watching just people download in different areas and interact with that. But in terms of pipeline, dating, um, group chats is next. Events is probably after that, and then just optimizing the algorithm, make it better and better from there. And then with the group chats, you can have the friend feature, so you can find friends. And after you have the friends feature, that's easy to find. Like okay, within then it's just a quick skin. Then you can find like a networking app type. You can switch it to networking. You can do a bunch of stuff.
Eric, you're blowing my mind here with all the virtual reality added to it. My goodness, like I can't even imagine, not only having the AI power matchmaking side of it, but then being able to put on, virtual reality helmet and oh my gosh, you're blowing my mind here.
And the cool thing is, because of all the tags that are generated off your profiles and stuff, it will likely make making a virtual avatar just much better. Rather than like fill out a couple forms and just customize that way, you can better import yourself into VR based on your interest, based on because the cool thing about dating is we pull data from so many different sources. It gives you a more holistic view of the person. Like for example, Instagram is different than my Twitter. Like they're two different entire personalities, but if you get both, you get both. So the more data sources you have, the better it knows you and the better it matches you with you. The more you chow with it, the better it knows you, the better it matches with you. And the name of the game, I think in our life, is self knowledge. So we program it into the app, where it's like, what is dating trying to do? It's just trying to learn, and it's incentivized to do so. And the more it learns, the better it gets at learning. So I think that's cool.
This is just so amazing what you're doing with this. Oh my gosh. And I wish that we had like another hour to talk about all this, but I am going to give you the floor to tell everybody how they can, find you, work with you, download this amazing creation that you're continually working at here.
Yeah, dude, thank you so much. I had a blast too. So if you want to download the app, just search dating in the App Store, or you can go through the link on our Instagram. If you want to connect with me personally, because I do love meeting cool people, just either Instagram, ERICDMCHUGH, or LinkedIn are the best bets.
All right. Well, very quick and to the point, much like the rest of this conversation, Eric. I really appreciate you coming on to Mark My Words today and sharing what is really kind of a mind-blowing idea. And I think it's the absolute right time for this idea. And uh, I think this is really great. I think it's going to be really good.
Well, I agree. I think it's already great, but it's only get like I said, it's the worst it's ever going to be right now. So it's only getting better.
I think it is going to get a lot better, and I wish you all the success in the world with this. I just think this is the most amazing idea. I knew it was amazing when we crossed paths on Podmatch, and I am definitely not disappointed hearing about it. It's so amazing. I'm almost a little stumped on what to really say.
Well, that's honestly really warming to hear. Thank you.
So I am going to leave it at that. So again, Eric McHugh is the founder of Aces.Fun, Chief Growth Officer for Data Inc., which we spent a lot of time talking about here. And he's an amazing, very smart individual. And I appreciate you for being on Mark My Words.
Yeah, dude. Thank you so much. I had a blast.
All right. And I am Mark Schmidt. I didn't even mention that. Mark Schmidt, I'm the host of Mark My Words. This was Eric McHugh, and I'll see you very soon on another episode. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to go on a journey with me into entrepreneurship and life on Mark My Words. If you would like to learn more about me and the show, you can find me on LinkedIn at Mark Schmidt or connect with me on Instagram at Nimrod79. Video episodes of Mark My Words, as well as other content, can also be found on the Mark My Words YouTube page. Entrepreneurship can be quite the roller coaster ride. It can be a bit isolating and intimidating, but it doesn't have to be that way. Let's meet here next time at the Crossroads on another episode of Mark My Words.